Excuse me. Welcome everyone to our daily success call for Friday, the 3rd of December. John Lavinia here with you as was expected, right? You guys were expecting me, weren't you? You weren't expecting me to look this dapper though, because it is Formal Friday, first Friday of the month. Anybody else?
Oh, gosh.
Anybody else dressed up for Formal Friday? I still have my gym shorts on down below there. Yeah. Oh, you got a beautiful turtleneck. Natasha looks angelic as always. Scott is in the forest. Look at you guys. Maggie's out in the water. Good to see you all. Hey, MP. Hey, Ann. Good to see Karen. There's Colleen. Wow. Hey, since it's Friday, anybody got a joke? You know, we do a joke on Friday, don't we? Yeah, that's policy. That's policy, damn it. Who's on policy?
Jokes.
Yeah.
I can't remember any I ever hear.
Well, I can remember all kinds of jokes, but none of them are clean enough to.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to keep it clean on here. You know, we got children in our midst.
Dad joke.
Scott, I can hardly hear you. Come on out, brother.
Hang on. I've got a very bad dad joke. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Bad dad joke?
Right. Yeah. Basically, if someone drops their glasses and you give them back to them, what are you giving them?
I don't know.
COVID.
Respect.
No, I don't.
Respect.
Very good.
It's a big corner.
There you go. Clean,
What?
nice, respect.
Oh,
They are
right?
getting
That was
respect, right?
funny.
So they lost their spectacles. Now they're getting them back.
Oh,
Yay. Okay.
that's
Great.
good.
Anything funnier than that? Anybody?
Thank you very
Anybody can
much.
top that? Thank you, Scott. Glad you're here. Is that an actual painting behind you, or is that a virtual background?
That is a virtual background, but it's from a painting that I took a picture of this morning.
Wow.
Cool.
That works. That works.
How
Yeah.
come I can never hear
In the
Scott?
Zoom
I can never
function.
hear him.
He's
his-
very low.
Another
His
one.
microphone gain is so when you go into Zoom, you can look at the audio settings. You can select which microphone, auto gain or manual gain. You can adjust the volume. So you can work on that and see how it goes. You don't want to overdrive it and you don't want to underdrive it. Sounds like you're a little underdriven right now. So anyway, auto gain usually works pretty good.
Auto gain. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, good. What are we talking about today? We're talking about time management. So buckle your seatbelts, everybody. I'm going to give you some tips and we'll see how this goes. And I'm going to say this to you, not as the authority, just as someone who successfully runs multiple enterprises and who has the same 24 hours a day that you do. I was woken this morning by a sound of a dog barking at 4:30 in the morning. And so typically I would sleep a little bit later, but the neighbor right across the street right there got a dog, and their dog loves to bark. And for some reason, they like to have it outside when it does the barky thing for a friggin' hour straight. So by 5 a.m., I was wide awake, as was my wife. And we got to start our day a little bit early. Now, I can look at that and say, well, you know what? I intended to sleep a little bit later because I worked a little bit later. But you know what? I'm doing just fine. I wound up getting up, doing my meditation, going to the gym, and I've been productive already today, right? This is not my first meeting of the day. It's 11:18 here where I sit right now in Phoenix, Arizona. And so we got on with it. Now, you know, I may be dragging a little bit later in the day, having done a major workout and had less sleep than I normally have. But I'm looking at, you know, since I'm not going to be sleeping at this time, what can I do that's productive during that time? This scenario, which I did not plan on, threw time management in my face, whether I like it or not, right then and there. And so this was something unplanned. Now, did I maximize that time? And I think the answer to that question will reveal how I operate with other allocations of time, which I may have so-called planned for and maybe not have planned for. So what I'm setting you up for here, and I guess the basis of everything I'm going to offer you, is the habitual way that you handle time, let's say, or any other, asset in your life, is how you will handle it in other areas. So in this case, unexpected time was granted to me. I intended to be sleeping. I wasn't sleeping. What did I do with that time? That will reveal how I tend to operate or how I stick to or fail to stick to my planned time. So this is where I want to go with this today. And we'll see any ideas that come up for you guys. Because again, I haven't arrived. I'm not the guru or anything. This is just what I've noticed in my life. And there's an old saying that if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. So that kind of holds water to a degree. But this morning, I'll tell you what, I got up and I got to it, even though I wasn't planning on it. I had things that I could do, though, that were planned, and I just got them done earlier. So here's the thing we want to base all this on is when we look at our priorities, we look at the things that we need to do. Like Maggie was saying that she's troubled with all this doingness, right? All this stuff that needs to get done. Okay. That's a fact. Okay. But if we look at activity management more than time management, because time management's kind of a misnomer, like you can't move the clock or whatever, it's going to do the clock thing. But activity management, and if we can look at from point A to point B, the completion of each activity, pre-planned, premeditated. If we look at that, and then we fit that in blocks or in chunks into our schedule and possibly into our unscheduled time, like I had at 4:30 this morning, well, then we're going to find that we're completing things because it's not based on how long does it take per se, but it's based on the act of completing it. Now, the more Maggie and others, right, and myself, the more we do things, the more competent we become and the faster we can go. So again, we're not actually just looking at a quantity of time. We're looking at items being completed, tasks being done. Now, sadly, when we have, just like I had an unexpected interruption to my sleep this morning, we also have unexpected interruptions to our work schedule, those things we did plan to do. So again, the way you behave, in this area is the way you're going to behave over there as well. So my suggestion then, and I think where I'm going with all this, is that I need to set up habits. Let me use this word. I don't use it too often. I need to set up boundaries. I need to have boundaries. That barking dog crossed my boundaries this morning. So I guess if it was that important to me, I could, take defensive countermeasures, put up sound baffling, complain to the homeowners association, call the SWAT team. I don't know, right? There's things I could do. I did contemplate running outside with a shotgun and just blasting one in the air just to see if that woke up some other neighbors too, and maybe they'd get the message. I didn't do that. And nor did I get arrested this morning, right? So that was good, prudent judgment. But it crossed my mind, okay? And that's as a dog lover. But the idea that I have boundaries that cannot be crossed except in extreme circumstances, right? So if the house is on fire or something, I want to know about it. But this block of time that I'm working right now on this business has to happen. It has to get done because the tasks that are planned to be done in that block of time have to get done. In my world, I deal with creative material, right? And so do you guys, right? You create, right? Designs and stuff, right? I heard that you create stuff. That's cool, right? But I use the written and spoken word. I use various media, like, of course, email and videos and all this kind of thing. And I have found that when I'm writing, let's say, for example, I'm writing copy. Okay. So, and by writing copy, I mean, could be an email, could be a page on a website or whatever. So, here's the sales pitch. And if anything interrupts my thoughts during that, it takes way, way, way longer. So back to Maggie's idea, right? All this stuff to get done and the whole idea of overwhelm. I can look at my unfinished copywriting or the video or whatever, because I allowed myself to get interrupted, or because I didn't block off the time to do it, because I'm kind of random and whatever happens, right? Oh, let me check my inbox. Oh, let me check my social media, which, by the way, I'm telling you not to do that, right? I don't do that. So but if we don't have boundaries, then we're going to expand the amount of time that it takes to get stuff done. There's this thing called Parkinson's law, which states that work expands to fill the time allowed for it. Work expands to fill the time allowed for it. So one of the first things I had to learn how to do when I was becoming successful as an entrepreneur, not just talking about being successful, not just hoping for success, but when I was becoming successful as an entrepreneur, one of the first things I had to learn how to do was reduce the amount of time it takes to get stuff done. And how does that happen? It happens with boundaries. It happens with boundaries. And it happens with knowing that the anatomy of success itself is completing what you start. So look at that. Anything you've ever been successful at, like in your life, you finished what you set out to do. You started, you did whatever needed to be done, and then you stopped, right? Because it was done. That is a complete action, a complete cycle. And everything you've ever done in your life that you could say is a success, you could see that it followed that pattern, right? You decided to eat breakfast. And so you started, you got the food, you did the eating activity, you stopped. Right? I mean, we could take it down to those sort of, simplicities, and you could see where this carries water. Therefore, the anatomy of failure, we could say, well, you didn't finish. Well, I meant to, and we started. Don't we get credit for that? Look, there's people who start lots of things. Some of us are just having this conversation recently, right? Oh, I bought the course and I read the first 10 pages of the book, but then I got the other thing, and then this other shiny object showed up, and these other things impinged on my time. In other words, I didn't have boundaries. Translation, I didn't have boundaries, right? And so here's all these other inputs. But where's your output? Where's you completing what you started? So everyone here, you got a course on e-commerce. That's fantastic. Well done. What does that make you? That makes you a consumer of a course. To whatever degree you're going to consume the content, hopefully all of it. But that's half the equation, isn't it? What do we say about success? It's the completing of what you started. So you started on this path of e-commerce entrepreneurship, and consuming course material is part of the action. Yes, that's part of it. Very good. Well done. Okay, but not done, because now we've got to balance those flows. Now we've got to say, okay, well, I consumed, now I must produce. I inflowed, now I must outflow. And right there, if we set up boundaries for ourselves, let's say, for example, and here's one that you could do in terms of activity or attention management, because again, time management is kind of a misnomer. But in terms of attention management, we could say, I block off this time to consume this much of the course and to produce this action, this productive end result, this end result that we can observe that is done. The account is set up, or the design has been published, or the integration has been integrated, right? So we can see that we not only brought in ideas, but we also demonstrated those ideas work by outflowing, by producing something. That is complete. That is success. Now, there's lots of moving parts, right? Not as many as a lot of other businesses, right? If you want complication and expense and everything else, my goodness, I can show you all kinds of business things that you can do that are way, way more costly and complicated than what you guys are doing here. Okay, so you have a few moving parts. Okay, so not to diminish that, but you don't have 10 million moving parts. So then can we in terms of time and activity and attention management, can we take each of these things, can we quantify them and say, I'm not sure exactly how long this is going to take to set up the gear bubble thing or the integration or to do the mug designs. By the way, this is going to get faster and faster the more you do this stuff. The more competent you are, the faster you go, right? But let me do one. Okay. And so I am not going to get out of this seat. I've blocked off this time. I've set up my boundaries. The binging and bonging is turned off on my computer, on my phone. The phone cannot ring. The only thing that could stop me at this point would be, the dog on fire barking through my window or something, right? Pigs flying, whatever, right? Some weird, wacky stuff, which probably isn't going to happen because now I have decided This is my time to get this done. There's the 4-letter word, done. And now I'll have attention that I can put on other things. Because here's the almost too obvious thing that's revealed with all this, is that the more you get done, the more time you have. So remember Parkinson's law, work expands to fill the time allowed for it. No boundaries, no urgency, right? Well, I can do some more later and do a little bit more. And it's never freaking done. It's never done because now you're distracted and this and that, right? Other things impinge on you. We don't go on to the next thing until this thing gets done. Now, once that thing is done, is it still on your calendar? No, it's off my calendar. It's done. What does that mean when I have things off my calendar? I have more time. This might just be an exercise in logic, but I mean, look at your calendar. Now, assuming you're planning your time and your actions, okay, here's the block of time for that. Okay, great. Well, let's say that thing is done. Does that have to be on your calendar again tomorrow? No, it's done. Goodbye. Look at all that white space, which is the other danger, right? Because if we've been accustomed to just kind of, drifting around with a bunch of white space on our calendar, well, then where's the boundaries in that? So I would say don't have much white space on your calendar. Yes, you need to take breaks and all this. I can tell you I've got back-to-back meetings most days. Okay, Fridays, come Friday afternoon, my brain turns to mush, and I'm not talking to anybody on Friday night. But Friday afternoon, it tapers off. Okay, Saturday is pretty much doing the Saturday thing. Tomorrow, in fact, I'm taking my daughter to a holiday festival at a local farm. Those are always fun, right? They do the apple cider and the candy canes, and they probably got Santa Claus running around. So anyway, we're gonna have fun. We're gonna do that. But the idea that the incomplete activities compound and continue to take up space on my calendar, whether they're listed on my calendar or not, they're taking up space right here. Okay, but once they're done. That's why done is my favorite 4-letter word right there, because it gives me more time. So how quickly can you get done these things? And I don't mean doing crappy work. Okay. I mean, get it done right as you know how to get it. That doesn't mean you're seeking perfection or whatever, but see what you can get done and reduce the amount of time it takes to get that stuff done. And then it's off your calendar. Now you got more time. Does that sound too simple? Because look, there's the other consideration would be that you've bit off more than you can chew. In which case you're going to have to assess, like, what can I take off the calendar now? So when looking at priorities, what did Steve Covey say? That which matters most must not be at the mercy of that which matters least. So we're putting first things first, right? We're assessing the value of each action which we have allocated our time and attention to. And you only get so much. Right? For those of you working a job, which is probably many of you, right? We got a lot of new people here, and you haven't replaced or exceeded your income yet with whatever you're doing to keep the lights on, which is a good and responsible thing to do. So, be responsible. That's fine. But isn't it true that just with this idea that I share with you, that work expands to fill the time allowed for it? Isn't it such that with your day job or your work, that you could actually be more efficient? Now, I don't know if you have to punch a clock, right? Then you're getting paid based on time. But if you're getting paid on production, like get that job done, well, couldn't you get that job done with less time? In fact, you've been doing it for a while, so you could probably do it really fast. And now you've got more time that you can allocate to other things. A lot of what we do for survival, okay, so like the things that you've been doing maybe for decades at your job or something, a lot of the stuff is almost on autopilot. I noticed when I was looking to transition out of the workaday world, and I've shared my story with some of you, I was working 80 hours a week, 70 to 80 hours a week at a job that I hated. It was emotionally draining for me. Mostly because I didn't feel appreciated there, and I was getting my pay cut 3 times a year. Not because my production was bad. My production was through the roof. But you can't out earn your superiors, you see, right? So they would give me a new title and a new pay plan. They did that 3 times in a year. Each time it was a pay cut. My goal, which was unreachable in that vehicle, my goal, which had been my goal for years, in my case, was to make 20,000 a month, which I could never do in that vehicle. So I had to divorce that vehicle. Now I mentally divorced it when I got into business. And yet here I was still 70 to 80 hours a week in that vehicle, the job, income vehicle. So how did I reconcile that? Well, I mentally divorced it. I still showed up and I still did good work. Okay. But I wasn't, in other words, I had a mental safety net. I had a sort of an escape hatch over here where my mental energy, even though physically I was in this place and doing the things that are almost on autopilot anyway, because I've been doing them so long, I'm really freaking good at it. I could also have some of my mental attention going on. All right, as soon as I get out of here, I'm going to do that action for the business or whatever. Right. So what seemed like 100% of my energy going into just, surviving and keeping the lights on, whatever. And ostensibly that's what it was. It was 100% of my effort going into that. Okay. That's what it looked like, but it wasn't the truth. The truth was I had more mental energy, because this stuff can be almost put on autopilot. Okay. I had more mental energy to give into where am I going? Where am I going? Not just what is familiar, what is already sustaining, the mortgage bill or something. That's fine. That's sustaining that. But now I've got all this additional creative space, right? And again, we're all creative here, right? You're creating stuff. You're producing designs and things that are going to be put out into the public. Well, that's another way of allocating your energy and your attention. Really what it comes down to is attention. When I heard Maggie talking, and thank you again, Maggie, for the topic. When I heard Maggie talking, the whole idea of overwhelm is disorderly or randomized attention. Randomized attention. If we can just create order, and we do that with boundaries, okay? If we can just create order in our mind, on our calendar, we know where our attention is going, despite circumstances and physically where I am right now or any of that, but we know where we're putting our attention. Now we're creating order, and now I don't feel overwhelmed. I'll tell you this too, and I'll shut up. The whole idea of multitasking is folly for me. I don't know how to multitask. I know how to shift my focus repeatedly again and again and again and again and again and get nothing done. I guess some people call that multitasking, right? But again, where's the fruit? The fruit is done. Done is fruit. Okay. Done is completion. Done is it's off my calendar. Done is now I have time, attention, energy to put elsewhere. I like done. Love it. What do you guys think about this? I'd love to hear your perspectives. I hope I gave you something to work with here. It's rather subjective though, right? I mean, I can't tell you, Scott, you must have from 8 a.m. to 9:58. You must allocate this time. I don't know. I don't know, right? And you may not know, okay? But you do know right here. You do know how it makes you feel, okay? When you've got order in your life, you're not overwhelmed. You're getting stuff done purposefully, deliberately. Who's got some thoughts on this? If you'd like to come on out, I'll get some hands up here. I see. Who do I see? I see Maggie. Hey, Maggie, come on out.
Yeah. Hi. Yeah, I did what you said at the in Las Vegas, and I downloaded your app for the calendar.
Oh.
And I could have not figured out, but I decided I'm going to stick to one calendar because I was having all kinds popping up, since I use Mac, I'm like, I'm just going to use, the Apple calendar. So I have done that. That helps,
Mm-hmm.
I just need to kind of streamline my other stuff so I can concentrate more on this stuff. And because I don't have, the workspace I had, I have to farm it out. But, like I went to a Staples, and I went to like a couple other picture places to get something developed to make some cards, and they came out horribly. And so it's like, okay, now I have to find somebody who does the stationery stuff. So it's yeah. My God,
Wow.
it's spent so much time on that. It was dumb, but
Right.
it was an order,
Right. So you were disappointed with the results of something that
Yeah.
you had attempted to. All right, I got it. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
that sucks. It sucks.
Yeah.
It's also in the past, right? And you got to learn from
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
But the whole idea, I think you just corroborated, is that the disorder is right here. Here's the
yeah,
disorder. Okay, good. Well, now we know what to address, right? So where are you allowing your attention to go? Where are your boundaries? Where aren't your boundaries?
yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm all over the place, so I try to work on things because ADD and stuff. But my boundaries. Let's see. I have to write notes, and I have to write notes, and people are like, you just write your list. I'm like, I forgot to write my list. So it's like that kind of thing.
Okay. Well, then I think that's exactly, you just went right for it, right
Yeah.
there. So as long as we're walking around with all the stuff loading us down on our brain, if we can, if we can put it on paper, it
Right.
actually takes a mental weight off.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
now it's not so subjective. Now it's objective. We can look at it. There's the data. There it is. It's not in
Yeah.
here. It's there, right? So that is super beneficial. And like you, Maggie, I've quite often failed to do that. My wife is an expert at this stuff. She's my secret weapon, right? She knows
Yeah.
about block scheduling, and here's the thing, and color codes and all this stuff. I'm like,
Oh, I
my
see.
goodness. Yeah.
I can't do that kind of thing. The scheduling stuff, I can't, it's
Okay.
hard.
No, hold on. I'm not gonna buy that. No, you can, but you can do it by degree.
I
Okay.
could do it for myself by the day.
Okay, but you can do it
just
by degree.
in other things.
So, right. So
Yeah.
you and I both may not be experts at block scheduling and the color coding of the right. But I can make a list.
Yeah.
It's not pretty. Okay. I can make a list, and I can
Yeah.
number the things on the list in order of priority.
Yeah.
Right. Which, just based on my thoughts about it, my own evaluation. Okay.
Yeah.
In fact, this was advice that was given to Charles Schwab, back in the 1910 or somewhere around there, where this guy, Ivy Lee, came into his office and said, here's the plan, and pay me whatever you think it's worth. He said, you come into your office, you number all your tasks in number of importance, right, that you need to do. Do number one. Don't go on to number two until number one is done. Charles Schwab tried the idea, sent him $20,000, said it was the best time management thing he ever learned. Oh my goodness, here's 20 grand. And that's when 20 grand meant something. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I was going to say, I thought of a new mug idea while I was thinking about this. And I was thinking, my brain runs faster than my body. Like, your head's just all over the place. But anyway.
Well, here's your affirmation then, Maggie. I rejoice in my ability to easily and confidently manage time.
Okay.
How's that?
Okay. I'll work on it.
Right. I mean, because you already gave me at least 3 affirmations about how frantic you are. So now let's affirm the other, right? Yeah. Let's just look at what would be the opposite, right? We get clarity through contrast. All right. So here's what I don't want. And I could talk to you about it all day. That's easy, right? I mean, here's what I don't want. All right. Well, what would be the exact opposite of that? Oh, well, it would be this. Okay. Well, let's just put our attention on that. See how that shakes.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I love you, Maggie. Glad you're here.
Thank you. Love you.
Yeah. Let's go to Nadia. Where's Nadia?
Awesome. Nadia, actually, great to be with you guys today. Thanks so much.
Nadia. Well, thank you for correcting me. I've got a friend in England named Ivier. I called her Ivy for like a month.
That's really pretty. Yeah, I think my chiropractor called me Nadia for like a year, and I was like, maybe I should tell him. But in any case, no, forgive me. I've been driving around the boondocks, and my service has been kind of spotty. I've had to kind of exit and restart a couple times here, so I may have missed it if you already said it. But something that I've experienced with setting a schedule. I'll write the schedule. I'll have it all planned out, the week, the day, the next couple hours, whatever it is. But there's like some subconscious block I have that I don't know, like I'm a Scorpio rising. So maybe it's like, Scorpios don't like being told what to do. I don't know if that's what it is. Do you have any thoughts or suggestions for like how to overcome that like little internal rebel that I have that makes me want to do everything but what's on my schedule? And it's not even procrastination. It's just like, I don't want to do that. I don't know. I feel restricted or something. I'm
Sure.
not sure.
Well, Nadia, I think if you've determined what's going on your schedule, then you could just acknowledge, hey, I chose that, right? So rather than, oh, I have to do that, oh, I get to do that. I chose that. Does that help?
Okay, yeah, I do have to play mind games with myself that way. If I say, oh, I have to do this, I immediately don't want to do it. But if I say, oh, I want to do this, then my brain's like, okay, yeah, let's go.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough road if you're just arguing with yourself all the time, which I've done. I'm speaking from experience. And so just recognizing, well, who chose that? Who's causing this? Who is cause? Oh, I'm causing this. Oh, okay, very good. So it's a position of, higher responsibility. There's the R word, which a lot of people run from in the other direction. But you sound plenty intelligent, Nadia. I'm going to say your name at least 3 more times, Nadia, so I can call you Nadia again.
Thank you.
Glad you're here, my friend. All right, let's go on to Ruth and then Scott. Hey, Ruth, you've got the floor, my friend. Come on out. Ruth Moore.
Hi, can you hear me?
I sure can.
Oh, wonderful. Hello again. My question would be, do you spend a block of time at some stage to create your to-do list or what you're going to do for the week? How would you, when do you kind of put all those blocks together?
For me, it's Sunday. So this is something that you can, have you ever read the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey? No. Okay. It's a good book. So in that book, the 7th habit is called Sharpen the Saw. And I'm giving this to you out of context, but it relates back to the first habit, which is be proactive. So being proactive means that you've decided in advance what your life is going to look like. And that could be short-term, long-term, whatever. One of the things that Covey talks about is that if you're just planning a day, well, days can get impinged on pretty easily, and it's kind of a state of crisis management, right? But if you plan a week, well, now we've got a little bit longer range thinking, okay? And so all this stuff, since we're proactive, is purposeful. It's purposeful stuff. If it's not necessary to be on your calendar, it's not going on your calendar. Like Thursday at 2:00. That's the thing. That's a very purposeful action. That's on my calendar, premeditated days in advance. Okay. So now any white space on the calendar that gets taken up is not going to impinge upon that thing, which is of a higher nature. So I would say plan the week and do it on whatever day you call, your Sharpen the Saw day or your day of rest, right? That sort of a thing with a clear mind, and then just intend. I intend. So here I am, I'm Ruth, I'm intentional, and this is what the week is going to look like. Does that mean it's all going to turn out perfectly that way? No. Maybe, I don't know. Okay. But I know that we're being proactive, and that is a very effective thing to do. Does that help?
Very much so. Yes, I shall do that tomorrow, which is
awesome.
Sunday. Yes.
Thank you, Ruth.
Thank
Glad
you.
you're here, my friend. My pleasure. Let's get Scott out here again. Hey, Scott.
Hello, John. Now, I'm just wondering, you did made a good point, I think, before. You said it was, a lot of this is about attention management. Mm-hmm. Which I think is very, very valid, because it ties into to me, the idea that perhaps the focus on the goal is not as much as it could be. Because I find if one's attention on the goal is very, very high, not just wanting the goal, but in the sense that it's really almost an obsessive focus, you find your focus on other things dissipates. The distractions and the thoughts and the feelings that don't relate to your goal, you lose awareness of them. And I think a lot of the forward planning you're talking about, a lot of that sort of comes to you from a part of your mind that is goal oriented. Now, in order to increase that focus, which I think is the key here, because I think basically if your mind's being distracted by alternative thoughts or feelings, to me, it just means the focus isn't what it could be. So I just increase my focus with affirmations. And I find when I do that over a period of time, I just don't process the distractions. I say, and in that context, boundaries are not boundaries to me because they just don't exist. I'm just focused on the one task. That is my priority, my mental priority, as well as a logistical thing. So I find mental focus and the ability to concentrate, that your mind is key, because you also mentioned priorities as well, and that all ties into it. Your focus is where the priority is, and you don't think about or worry about or feel about anything else. That's my take on it anyway.
Yeah. Well, you're describing an aspect of genius.
But we all
That
have
is-
that.
Yeah, an aspect of genius is the ability to differentiate between actual barriers that need to be overcome and distractions, which do not need to be addressed in any way. And them, according to statisticians, the number one most costly thing for corporations right now is distractions, distracting of the workforce and off purpose attention. Okay. And so for you to focus your attention on a goal, a purpose, an objective is an aspect of genius level performance. In fact, Einstein said, if you could focus your entire attention for 2 minutes on a problem, not only would you solve the problem, you'd be a genius. So, I mean, that's pretty big, right? Your entire attention. So I think you're on the right path, Scott. In fact, I know you are. I don't think you are. I know you are. And we're expecting huge things from you because you're a friggin' genius. I don't know if anybody's told you that lately.
But
Yeah.
John, I do.
Well,
think
take an
that-
IQ test. I know about it.
Me, give me a break.
Yeah,
No,
come
I do
on.
think though that you can, with affirmations, for example, you can modify the function of what they call the reticular activating system,
Right.
which basically decides where you're going to focus and what information you're going to process and information you're not going to process, and also
Right.
which information you're going to search out in the real world that relates to that goal or that internal reality that you've established. I think
Right
if you
again.
control that, you basically can tap your highest potential.
Yeah. Which is why I say to people, turn off the news, right? Get focused on where you're going here. Don't let all this other stuff impinge on you. All these suggestions that you can't, or, anything that's counter to your intention. So Scott, I would lose a bet if you took an IQ test and came in anything under 130.
Oh, give me a break.
Yeah, come on. You know stuff. You use long, big words like reticular. Yeah. I'm not just blowing smoke. I think you're awesome.
Thank you,
So yeah, we're just getting started here.
Still
So
learning,
guys, give Scott some love. Scott's new here. He needs some extra love. Give him some love in the
Thank you.
chat. Come on. Here we go. Hey, you're getting applause and everything else. Let's hear from.
Can I
yeah.
mention one thing about what Maggie said before?
Yeah, and then we're going to go to Deborah and then to Matt.
Yeah, just a quick thing, because Maggie, to me, one of the things that Maggie seems to be doing is working on systems as well as the things she needs to do from day to day. I think systems are a huge priority as well, because they underlie the mechanics of everything we do. And often you might be setting up the integration or learning how to do a process. That's all about establishing systems so you can set them up and forget about them. And I think Maggie's doing that as well as one of the things she's doing. I think that's a very, very important priority as well. And then that can't be underestimated, even though it may not be productive in the sense of making a mug you put on the shelf today.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the systems are critical, absolutely critical.
I'm glad you brought that up because it relates to what we were talking about with the job, where I can pretty much run it on autopilot anyway, and systems, right? So same thing here with your business. The more competent you are, the more systemized you are, the faster you go. It's that upward spiral. I will just say this though, as I mentioned earlier, the whole idea of constantly taking in but not putting out. If you're waiting for the system to be perfect before you produce something, worthy or profitable or whatever, you're going to be waiting a long time. A lot of times we build systems as we go. I could tell you right now, and then we are going to go to Deborah and then to Matt. I've got, for example, lead management. How do I know who do I call at what time and to deal with this person, and here's what their wants and needs are? Like, how do I know all that stuff? Well, I've got systems in place for that. And so that came out of the action of doing it. It came out of the action of me taking the call from the customer and forgetting, what did they want, right? And so I put in systems to help me with that. So now instantly I know who I'm talking to, right? So that's just one example of in my world, right? You guys may not be taking calls from clients and whatever, but just one example. Deborah, please save me, Deborah. What am I talking about here, Deborah?
I don't know. I'm not near James Scott, but he said some things I was going to mention about setting your. What I do, I try to set my mind to the goal. And when I get distracted, then that brings me back. Well, it's not going to help me get to my goal if I don't do this. So through the last 2 months, I've given 2 months of people in my family all around me to get them orientated at Deborah's in a different frame of mind, to set them up correctly. So if I say, I'm on retreat right now in Tennessee with 7 other ladies, and I'm sitting here on the toilet to look at, to talk to the people here because I want to be part of the group. And I can only find a quiet place here in the bathroom. But anyhow, the reticular activator, as he was referring to, it happens automatically. My mind is so set on this e-commerce, the mugs and everything else, that when I went into Target 2 days ago, I saw a mug that gets me back in place. It's just like if you see something is in your mind and you see a red car and you like the red car, and you see every red car on the street. So it just takes time, and that helps in time management. My problem is not as much as me as the people around me have relied on me to be their manager, and I have had to stop that.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Thank you, Deborah. Live from the Tennessee toilet.
So
There you
no,
go.
I'm sitting on it. this cabin is beautiful, but they have no chairs in the damn room.
It's a beautifully appointed toilet room you have.
Yes,
Very
it
nice.
is.
Thank you. Very aesthetic.
You're welcome.
All right. Let's go to Timette, and then I think we're going to wrap up. Hey, Timette.
Hello, everybody.
Here she is.
Good afternoon. Hold on. Let me get my back on it.
Okay.
Okay.
You're live.
I have to figure out where I was.
Okay.
Okay. Well, sorry I don't have a camera. I have a really old computer. But anyways, I was just going to piggyback on what they were saying. Yes, affirmations do work if you read them consistently every day. And I just wanted to, I guess, admonish everyone, you've got to show your self-appreciation too, and you got to, praise yourself sometimes, and, I guess cheer yourself on, like I did this. I'm so proud of myself. I got something done yesterday. I completed a mug. I got 3 mugs in finally, and just give yourself some praise for what you've already done, and that builds on the excitement of what you're doing.
Yeah, I think self-love is so important. Right. And because what you validate, you get more of that. So let's acknowledge what we're doing right, too. Thank you. Great reminder, Timette. And by the way, there's this website. I'm not sure if you heard of it. They sell webcams. What's it called? Amazon. That's it.
I completely forgot about webcams.
Yeah. No, they got look at that. I'm just on there right now. Logitech C270, $19 on sale. $40, half price.
Okay.
Hey, boom.
Right.
Yeah. And it's probably not like a full featured, amazing, whatever, but hey, you get a camera because we'd love to see you.
Okay.
All right, cool. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and wrap up with that. Thank you for another great week here in our group. A lot of us, if you're new here, just know that you're in the right place. What a beautiful unadvertised bonus that we get to get together here and share these sort of ideas, which are sure to advance us in our business and in our lives. So anyway, I'm going to be back here with you on Monday. In the meantime, have an awesome weekend because you totally deserve it. Get whatever Christmas shopping done. You're doing it, do it early. And we're going to be back here on Monday. So you guys